Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palmer Show. And in this episode today, I have a CEO and president of Pure Romance and author of The Secret Is You, Chris Cicchinelli. Welcome to the Dave Palmer Show.
Dave, thanks for having me. Super excited about being here, my friend.
Oh, it's a great honor having you here. I've read your bio, and such a great work you. First of all, great work you're doing around the world, and a successful entrepreneur now, and doing some wonderful speaking. Speaking around the world. So, we want to hear more about that. Let's just obviously your new book, has it just been released?
Yes, it comes out. Actually, it comes out on the 13th of April. So it's coming out. It's here and it's on us, right? So I did not think, that it was going to be this quick. I mean, this is something I've had a passion project for the last 5 years to create this book, and it feels like now coming out. I feel like it came out 5 years ago, but now it's finally here, and super excited about it.
Yeah, it's like some people treat it like their baby. They're thinking of the title of it, the name of it, like that, really.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll come on to the book in a minute. But tell us more about your life and how you got involved with all this. I mean, obviously the story's in the bio, but I will just want to hear it in your own words.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick overall. So my mom actually found this business in 1993, right? So actually, and got into the industry in 1983. So Pure Romance is an in-home party plan, or actually was an in-home party plan pre-COVID, right? Nobody's been in homes lately. But we were a party plan that basically had about 40,000 people that were worldwide selling relationship enhancement, beauty, lingerie type of products.
Yeah.
This line was, an area that my mom had discovered in 1983. And as a kid, I had no idea what my mom did. And you probably read this in the book. The first time I ever heard about what my mom did, I got in a fight at the bus stop because somebody said, "Oh my gosh, your mom's the sex toy lady," right? That was somebody saying, "Oh my gosh." Yeah. So I go through high school, go to college. I get a great job right out of college. Decide that I'm going to go live in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. My mom had built this business and she had gotten it to about $1 million. And she called me. She said, "Hey, Chris, I really want you to come back to Cincinnati, Ohio." Now, the area I lived in is like Mayberry, right? Like it's a really small, very conservative community. And here my mom was selling relationship enhancement. We used to have people picketing outside of our front yard. People saying my mom was running a brothel, all kinds of different things, right? So we had so many social issues that we were trying to overcome. Yeah. And I ended up coming back because she said, "I want you to come back. I want to help. Would you help me grow the business?" And I said, "Mom, if I come back and I work for you, I'll get a job nowhere in the world." Because in 2000, if you would have said, "I'm going to sell relationship enhancement or bedroom accessories or bedroom toys,"
it wasn't a big thing then.
It wasn't that the world was not mainstream. This wasn't something that people would even talk about. Yeah. So I ended up coming back. Her and I sat in a room and talked about how we were going to scale the business, how we were going to grow the business, because we had to change perception. We had to change people's mindset that what they knew about this type of product was at a bookstore or a magazine or, because the internet wasn't even prevalent in 2000, right? Like a lot of people weren't going and searching. There wasn't Googles and all the other stuff. And we ended up sitting down and talking. She said, "Chris, I need you to help me figure out how to grow the business. We're going to have different responsibilities. I'm going to take the responsibility of product development and training. Chris, you need to take the role of development, growth, strategy, where we're going." So I remember her and I sitting down and she said, "Hey, what are we going to do?" I'm like, "Mom, I've been here day one. I don't know exactly how we're going to scale this thing, but give me a couple of days. I'll figure this out." So in the States, and I'm not quite sure if they had this, in the UK, I'm not sure if they've had this in other parts, but there is a company called Barbizon Models. And Barbizon Models was a modeling company that would go around the country and they would say, "Hey, listen, for $99, come be the next Guess Jean model," right? So people would come out in droves. I mean, they would come out and pay $99 for a chance to be in LA to be the next Guess Jean model. Yeah. So I hear one of these commercials on the radio. "Come meet Philippe, the photographer of the stars. You could be the next Guess Jean model." Yeah. So I drove over to this hotel because I was like, "There's no way anybody's there, right? Why would somebody pay $99 for a chance to be the next Guess Jean model?" Yeah. I drive over there, and literally there is hundreds of people that are there. So I get thinking, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is great. My mom's articulate. The industry needs this powerful woman to really kind of stand up and really kind of articulate, because this has been such a male dominated industry."
Yeah.
So that night I wrote some copy, and I came back in my mom's office and said, okay, here's the deal. Here's what's going to happen. Come meet Patty Brisbane, which is my mother.
Yeah.
Take your steps in making your dreams come true. Own and operate your own pure romance business today. Come meet Patty at the Westport Plaza Sheraton. Party starts at 7 p.m. I remember saying to my mom, she goes, Chris, why would anybody want to come meet me? That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. I said, Mom, women need a voice. There needs to be more education. The divorce rate's creeping to 60%. Yeah. Somebody needs to stand up and do what they need to do. We took that business model, that commercial that we ran there, and we went from $1 million to almost 400 million. We literally went from city to city to city and giving people the ability to understand what we do, the ability to understand that there's an opportunity for a job. There's an opportunity to go out there and change perception. Yep. And my mom and I spent, as you read in the book, 3 years in a U-Haul together. Now I'm still in therapy over that because spending that many years in a U-Haul with your mother, a moving truck. Yeah. I mean, right. Can you imagine that? Yeah. But that's how we grew the business. And that's what I work. I work with 250,000 independent business owners every day, female independent business owners.
Yeah, wow. And that's something that you helped your mom grow, and you've built it today to a company that annually gets the revenues of $350 million.
Yes.
And is that global or just in the US? I suppose
global. So we have offices in Sydney, Australia, now moving to Melbourne. Yeah. We have offices in Canada. We're actually looking at coming into Europe next year. So yes, we continue to keep expanding our business because we work with them as business owners, business partners, and really training them on how to run a small business.
Right. I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on to your book then, because obviously that's a big part of your success. It's kind of like, I don't know what it is. You tell me, why did you want to write this book?
Listen, I want to write this book because for 21 years, okay, and if any small business person is listening to this show, or if anybody's sitting out there going, okay, I'm thinking about a side hustle, I'm thinking about making this, everybody sits back and says, Chris, what do I need to do to be successful? What's the game plan? What's the book look like? And I was like, man, I kept getting this question over question over question. What do I need to do? What do I need to do? What do I need to do? And finally, I'm like, I got to put this in a book. I got to sit down and outline this because I think people think that there's this easy plan that you follow. It's like they think it's a diet plan, right? You eat this every day, you're going to get this result. You work out 30 minutes, you're going to get this. And it doesn't work like that.
Right. And you mean the secret is you? They think that title makes them think that.
Yeah, the secret is you, because what I wanted to understand, people to understand, is like, if you read Good to Great by Jim Collins, or if you sit back and you read, How to Win Friends or Influence by, Dale Carnegie, everything that they talk about in every book that's out there, every business book is theory based. And I wanted to write something that was more like, not theory. It is a action plan guide on what you need to do to run a small business, and not make it. This is a real life stuff that I've done, getting here from $1 million to over 350 million. And I outline in The Secret Is You, what is those processes? What are those steps you need to be thinking about as an entrepreneur? How to live uncomfortable to get comfortable, right? We need to understand that so many people don't like to live uncomfortably, right? They just don't, because it's something they don't want to push themselves past. Like, I don't want to go uncomfortable. I don't like to sweat. I don't like to, I don't like a little anxiety.
It's kind of like getting out your own comfort zone, and which obviously is a good thing to do though.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're a mindset guy, right? Like you have to get into this mindset that you are going to have to go the extra mile. And that's what this book, outlines is, you have to get uncomfortable. And the other thing too, is that it's like repetition is the mother of learning, right? It's the father of action, the architect of accomplishment. And a lot of people have to understand that in business and life, so many people want the outcome. They want to I want to have $1 million, or I want to have a 6-figure earning check. I want this. I want a brand new car. Okay. That's the outcome. Right. What I tell people all the time is commit to the process, detach from the outcome. Once you decide that, hey, that's my vision board of a brand new house, or that's my vision board of a brand new car. Cool. Do you. But you got to do the processes. You got to make the extra phone calls, the extra text messages. You have to do all the work when nobody else is watching. And that's what I outline in the book. And because here's the thing, why I know it works is because I work with 250,000 women entrepreneurs. My top earners are 6-figure earners.
250,000
consultant, 250,000. My top consultant last year, my top business partner made $1.6 million.
Yeah.
So the system, if you follow the system, you follow the processes, that's what I want to lay out. The reason why is because I want to give people like my mom, women, business owners, a guide, a plan. If they follow this, this could be the first thing to lead to the success, because the secret is not somebody else. The secret is not this. It's you. It's everything starts with you. Are you willing to make the change? Are you willing to continue to be a student of life?
Yeah.
That's why the book was important to me to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that's a key word, you, as well. I mean,
yeah,
people should start with themselves, I think, and I'm also a great believer in obviously things like mindfulness. I did that through, the stress of my previous job doing firefighting and that, but you certainly got to sort of, look at yourself first and develop yourself and move forward, that kind of thing. So that is a key word to use.
I knew you being a firefighter, you had to be like in mindfulness. You had to be your surroundings and know everything that was around.
That's right. Yeah. But stress is around. So even as firefighters or any first responder, military or whatever, that kind of thing, you have to still kind of use kind of work you're teaching about. I know the officers, when I was in the London Fire Department, and the officers did the training from Stephen Covey, his 7 Habits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that was being used. I did actually listen to Dale Carnegie's Win Friends and Influence when I first joined the fire. So, so I mean, it's still, you still have to develop yourself, even if you've got a mindset job like that,
Yeah, everybody thinks that it's, everybody thinks that it's everybody else is going to help them. I got to get a coach. I got to get this person to help me get to the next level. You can get a coach, but if you're not willing to do the work, and that's where it gets back to you. Absolutely. Are you willing to wake up every morning and smile? Are you willing to wake up every morning and have a good attitude and be positive? Right, And that is, nobody else gets to decide that except you, right? Like, it's like, I tell people, I'm like Socrates. I can make you think, but I can't make you do, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Or it's like that saying, teach a man to fish. Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, give a man to a fish and he'll eat for one day. But if you teach a fish, that kind of saying. I know it's a cheesy saying, but it's true, isn't it? Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, what are the main things of the secret is you?
I think the main things that, if I said that there was one takeaway that's from the secret is you that I think is the most important piece, is that we get to design our lives. I don't think a lot of people think that they get a choice to design. I think that they think they just get the life that somebody else gave to them. We design our kitchens. We design our bathrooms. We design our bedrooms, the nice bedspreads, the nice shams we're going to put on there. We design our living rooms, our outdoor spaces. But the one most important thing we don't do is we don't design our life. Yeah. And I think that is a problem with people today. That's why in this book, there's so much business stuff, but there's also personal development as well.
Yes.
And I really want people to understand, when I'm saying design your life, I'm saying you got to be able to start going out there and looking at what is in front of you, looking what other people are doing, look at, where you want to be with your family, where do you want to be with your wealth, where do you want to be with your career?
Yeah.
You can design all that, but you got to put time into it. You got to go out there and search for go-bys. You got to search for pictures that you're like, hey, that's what I want for my life. And when you decide that, then you have to say, I'm committing to the processes to get me to the other side, to the outcome that I'm looking for. Yeah. And that's inside this book, which is really good. But I just don't outline stories from myself or what I've done, but also some of the 250,000 business partners that have worked with me for the years. It showcases like some of them almost getting their house foreclosed upon, and they decided that they were going to go out there, stay committed, and now, making well into, mid 6 figures. What were those outcomes? Some of the stories when they put these things in process, what they were able to do with their lives. So the book to me is a compilation of 21 years of experience, 21 years of people telling me that we couldn't do what we did. We beat social stigma, which, which we changed people's mindsets around product. We didn't have excuses. We could have gave up when we had concerned citizens, picketing in our front yard. We could have given up when, people were like, this isn't a real business. We could have given up all that time, but we didn't. We didn't make excuses. We just put efforts into our business every day. And I think that's the big takeaway. If I'm reading this book, I'm going to walk away and be like, man, I can do it. Because that guy that wrote that book, he graduated in the bottom of his class in school. The bottom.
Oh, really?
but it doesn't matter where you, I graduated 167 out of 169. Right. Can you imagine how proud my mom was of me at graduation day?
Too busy
here's the thing. It doesn't matter where you start. It only matters where you finish.
That's right.
And that's the most important piece, is that anybody that's there thinking about a side hustle, small business, this is a book that I would 100% say it's not theory-based, it's fact-based, and something that everybody could put into action if they're willing to do the work.
Yeah. I mean, most successful entrepreneurs anyway, it's not stuff you teach at school anyway, is it really? They do it out of like doing real work out in the real world kind of thing. You know, a lot of them learn that when they leave school. Well, some do it actually. Some are entrepreneurial while they're at school. You know, they're doing, I did a few entrepreneurial things just to make some extra pocket money, you know, but it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Really, it's one of our most successful businessmen, Richard Branson. Left with minimal qualifications. Well, he, like myself, he has dyslexia and he's very kind of like outspoken, you know, he sort of shares that knowledge, but only had maybe 2 very small qualifications that wouldn't get him anywhere in life, really, you know. So
it's so funny. I also have dyslexia. I follow Richard too.
Okay.
I follow him. Yeah. And I follow him on Instagram, and he, you know, he's just an amazing man.
Yeah. Well, he's been overtaken by another billionaire from our country as the richest man in Britain. But even he had well, I mean, he went the kind of academic way because he studied chemical engineering, but he sort of went into oil and stuff like that. So he made his money that way and became, you know, the richest man in the UK. But even then, he came from humble beginnings. You know, he came from like growing up almost in a projects kind of thing, you know, not, you know, housing kind of.
What's his name?
I forgot his name now. James. If you Google,
I'll Google.
Richard,
I'll find it.
Richest man in Britain, you'll see it. It's James something. I'm sure it is anyway. But anyway, everyone listening to this now can also do that. But they're good, very, very humble lives, you know. So I just thought I'd illustrate that with the fact that you mentioned the background you come from.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it's the books like yours, and I know Richard also has written books that will inspire people to say, actually, you know, this is, if I want to be in business, it's not just doing an MBA and doing all the theory stuff. It is going in the real world and learning like practically, you know, learning the mistakes and gaining from it, and, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned it's not only a business book, but also personal development, and that's going hand in hand anyway. But of course, it can benefit anyone. You know, you obviously do motivational speaking yourself, but who else can it benefit from this book?
You know, I think this benefits anybody that is looking to start a side hustle, like like that gig economy, right? Or I'm looking and saying, hey, you know, a COVID changed thing for a lot of people, right? People are looking at how can I make extra money, right? You got 57 million people in the United States right now that are having side hustles, and they're, you know, they're freelancing, they're doing more and more. And I think that this book would help somebody. Or this would help somebody that wants some personal development in their career, right? I want to advance. I want to get ahead. I want that next promotion. This book outlines every bit of the things that they're going to need to do. They're going to have to understand one of the other big lessons in the book was, you know, COVID taught me one thing. We used to be, before March 23rd of 2020, we were 90% of our business and revenue was in somebody's house. It was in person, right?
Yes.
It's like you go in, you set up, you do a presentation, people would walk away with their products that night.
Yeah.
Well, when March 23rd came, and now we can't go into anybody's houses because we're quarantined, I thought I was going to lose the business. I really thought that was going to be it.
Yep.
But we live by a kind of a slogan here, and that was change is inevitable, growth is optional.
Right.
And we sat down with our leadership and we said, guys, we have to be able to pivot right now.
Yes. Yeah.
We ended up sitting down with the leadership and telling them we were going to do Zoom parties.
Yes.
Now, when I said Zoom to a lot of people thought that was a household appliance. They did not know what Zoom was. I mean, people didn't know. I mean, like, it just wasn't something that everybody uses. Like Zoom is like now toilet paper, right? Or Kleenex. Everybody knows what it is.
Yeah. It's a big brand.
And now we were able to pivot, and we were able to grow our business by 50% because we were able to get out of this mindset that we were only doing parties in our neighborhood, you know, or just with our friends in a 2-4 mile radius. Yeah. Now it's global. Now they are social selling on Facebook and Zoom and all kinds of stuff, because they understood that they could grow from change. Most people get paralyzed by change, right? Most people get paralysis by change. They try to analyze everything. They try to overthink everything. And what we have talked about here is that we need to use change to propel our businesses, to propel our lives. And I think anybody that's looking for change out there and doesn't know exactly how to handle it, this book is for you. And that's the things that we really uncover over 21 years. Over 21 years working with 250,000 business owners, small business owners that overthink things. That's who should pick this book up. I don't care what business you're in. If you were looking for the promotion, or you're just sitting there saying, I want to be a better human being. Because I also talk about in this book, I have a transgender child, and I overcame some obstacles with my child, understanding where, how I could best support, how I could best, help, how I could best, be there, not just as a dad, but an ally. And so those are things that you could pick up in the book of how we can also be better human beings, how we can leave this world better in which we found it.
Yeah, well, that's great. And 21 years, I mean, you must have seen the world go through some ups and downs. I mean, before this, there was a 2008 crash, and before that, there was the 9/11, that obviously shook America, at least, obviously worldwide, with the aviation, probably going through the same thing again. But, oh, no, not again, kind of thing. But, you've been through all that over 21 years, more or less. Yeah. That stretch, isn't it, really?
9/11 was like my first year in the business. I'm like, my goodness, what is going on here?
Yeah. So, so, I mean, did you put in a book about going through doing business, maybe now? I mean, COVID, did you mention about pivoting, for example?
Yeah, I go through all my ups and downs, right? I go through a lot of the trials, tribulations that we went through. A lot of it was, my own personal, trash, like my own, my dyslexia was really hard for me. Overcoming where people told me I wasn't going to be anything in life. And I think that there's a lot of us that are told that. A lot of us get labeled. A lot of us get labeled and are told what we can and cannot do. And I had teachers tell me that I should just, go to a trade school, or I should, and there's nothing wrong with going to a trade school.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I mean, Germany has a 2-tier system, in school. One's vocational, one's academic, but yeah, sorry, I cut across you. Sorry, say that again. Why?
No, but you're right. And I felt like, I felt like nobody was in my corner as a kid growing up. And, my dad left early on. I didn't have a dad growing up. So I only had my mom to kind of lean on. And, and I feel like for this book, it's like, let's not put labels on people. I think people are going to develop over a period of time. And when they figure out that they're allowed to dream, like that's the one thing I never stopped doing. I always kept like dreaming about being successful, but not just dreaming, but putting action behind it. And I talk about that in the book. I talk about why it's important to kind of, go out there and invest in the most important asset with yourself. I try to stay a student. I work out every day. I do a little bit of meditation. I always send praise to people because I feel like if you can be a praise prism and you can really go out there and shine light on people, it's going to come back to you tenfold. And that's discussed in here. And all of these different things that I've went through, the ups and downs. The one thing I'm glad I never did is I never quit. I never gave up. And I think I think too many people quit or give up before they get going.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things because I listened to the audiobook of the Dale Carnegie How to Win Friends when I first joined the fire service in 1990, actually. So that's going way back. Obviously, Carnegie was like 100, well, I made nearly 100 years ago his book, but anyway. And one of the things was to say never give up, So, that kind of got installed a bit in me as well. But sometimes I probably did, in life. But at least if you give that mantra, you stand a better chance than having negativity, because there is this thing where people say, well, humans generally think negative, so it's kind of trying to turn it around and have that affirmations to make sure you don't go back to a negative kind of mindset.
Dave, isn't it crazy how many people go to the negative before they can go positive? I mean, everybody starts with a negative. No, I don't think I could do that, or I'm not really sure, or what. I mean, it amazes me that the negative is the first narrative that we give ourselves.
Yeah, it's amazing. But anyway, we'll probably sidetrack a bit and divulge a bit. But So talking about your own personal development, and like you're mentioning, one of the things you're teaching is giving praise. And what are some of the hardest lessons you learned as an entrepreneur over those 21 years?
I think the hardest lesson I learned is the law of comparison.
Right.
I think that too many of us compare our businesses, our lives, to other people's lives.
Right.
I think the law of comparison, that's one thing I've tried not to do. And it's hard. That's probably the hardest thing, because I think we get caught up in seeing what's going on Facebook. We get caught up on what's going on in Insta-Lie. And we see all these people living these better lives, or we see these businesses doing whatever, people working from the beach. And we're like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I working so hard and everybody else is working not that hard, and they're enjoying their life? But when you look at it, are they really, or did they just put a filter on their life? Did they just put a filter on what they want to show you? Do they really just want to show you the good stuff, but not the bad? And I think we all have to stop the law of comparison. I don't want to compare my chapters to your chapters, Dave. I don't want to do that. Because at the end of the day, I just want to stay in my lane. Now, I want to see around me. I want to understand what's out there, but I don't want to compare myself, because when you start comparing, you start going, what else? What do I need? What do I need to do better? What do I need to do this? And I think that sometimes that could lead to anxiety. I think that can lead to depression. I can think that can lead to so many different things that will get in your way and stop you from your end goal. And that's probably the biggest lesson I could tell everybody that's listening today. Don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely it's absolutely true. Sorry about that. Excuse me.
No.
Also, so you do have a foundation. You mentioned about your 8-year-old coming out, and you do actually have a foundation as well called Living with Change Foundation. Tell us more about that before we kind of get everyone to
so Living with Change Foundation is really a foundation that my wife and I started, which was to support transgender youth here in the United States. We really tried to make sure that we live in a very, very conservative state here, Ohio. And so there was not a lot of funding. There was not a lot of research. There was not a lot of medical. There was not a lot of community outreach for these children. And they had a huge and high suicide rate. When our daughter, came out, when our child transitioned, beautiful young woman, 13 years of age, at the age of 8, she's told us, hey, listen, I'm transitioning. We supported that. And we were really embraced it. At first, it was very hard. We didn't know what to do, but we knew that the power of love was the most important thing. So we just followed our child. So my wife and I made a $3 million commitment to our hospital here, which was Children's Hospital, to make sure that there was proper medical attention for these kids, psychiatric care. Also making sure that we had programs to work with the families, the parents, because there's a lot of parents that don't know how to handle this. There's a lot of grandparents that don't know how to explain it. And a sibling going, well, my sibling was born a boy, but now she is living as a girl, and it's kind of confusing, right? How do you explain that to your friends? And what we really did it for the final reason, which was, we don't like bullying. We don't like, people being mean to other people. And we want to make every school here safe, not for 99% of people, but for 100%. And I think that the LGBTQ, is very marginalized. I think that, there's not enough education. And my wife and I said, listen, we really want to help the T in the LGBTQ. That was our big mission because of our daughter. So we continue to do this with a lot of businesses here in town, a lot of friends of mine that will donate. Our goal is to roll more of these facilities, these center, other hospitals around the country, hopefully around the globe, really working with some great people to really be able to create more awareness for transgender youth.
I'm sort of aware of it, to the best part of trying to, when I was in the fire service, there's a lot of kind of banter going around, and some of it was towards the LGBTQ, sometimes race, sex, sexism. But we did get some equality lessons, or if you say, seminars or whatever given to us, and then some of it was about transgender. And actually, because it's about identity as well, and they actually will get into serious trouble, even a lot of money in terms of fines and whatever, if they're transgenders protected to not even have to reveal, And then I've been living in this part of I've been from UK. I've been living in I'm in the Philippines actually at the moment, and obviously in Thailand, they're very much protected. They're a bit less ignorant than the rest of the world in terms of that. I mean, there's still a long way to go. But
long way to go. You're right. Under Trump, they weren't protected.
No,
now
that's right.
Under Biden, they're protected. So it's definitely
it's gender politics like that, isn't it? Yes. Gender identity politics in terms of that. Yeah. And also I used to do athletics, actually track, and there was a runner called Chris Cicchinelli. Now that is a real classic case. I mean, she got pulled up for saying that because there is gender checks as well as drug checks in track in any sport. So like it's male could be run as a female. There's a new politics going on at the moment. It could be running as a female, and it's like you're not allowed to do that, because that's cheating, But now they've got transgenders are allowed to compete now, in women's race. But Chris Cicchinelli from South Africa got pulled up, and then she's actually I don't know what you call it, but she's both sexes in terms of her biology.
Really?
Yeah. So you can Google
Kate she's born that way.
Yeah, but now she's been banned from athletics. And I don't know what the case is, but she's been Olympic champion and all kinds of things, and she's put in court cases. She has to take tablets to reduce her testosterone in between, I think it's 400 meters and 1500 meters, because it gives an unfair advantage or something like that. But anyway, there's so much going on in the world in terms of that, but she's obviously using.
I will have to look her. I will have to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But anyway, it's a bit of education for our listeners anyway. I just wanted to just say, the good work you're doing, and not only that, but in charity that's at the bottom of your heart as well. And as we're talking about dyslexia, I did a lot of work around that when I found out about mine while I was a firefighter, actually, but I knew at school it's the same what happened now, no, great work. But anyway, we have to wrap this up now. So tell our audience where they can find your book, and also more about what you do as well.
Okay, so you can find the book at the Secret Is You. All right, .com, secretisyou.com. You could go there, you could buy it, or you could buy it on Amazon as well. That's another place that they could do. Also, feel free, love to have you as an Instagram follower or Facebook. It's just Chris, CHRIS, Cicchinelli, CICCHINELLI. That's where you could go get me. All my stuff is online. And I post every day at 9 a.m. US Eastern Standard Time. I'm always doing Monday through Friday, doing Rise and Grind, which is a show where I have a couple thousand people join. Oh, wow. So
excellent.
Really fun.
I'll try. Is it online as well? Can we?
Oh yeah, you can get it on Facebook. Go to my Facebook page. Every morning excellent. We kind of work up and just give some really good business stuff that we need to get done for the day.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure I check that out. Actually, my wife, she's from the Philippines. That's why I'm here. I'm doing some other work here as well. So, but she's doing multi-level or networks business as well, but trying to get off the ground. So I'm sure she'll be interested in watching that as well. So
I'd love to help out. If there's anything I can do, you let me know, man.
I will. I'll give her your details and give her the Facebook and everything, and hopefully she will be in touch. Thanks a lot for that. But more than anything, thanks for giving this great value to my audience today. I really appreciate that. I've a really great conversation with you, actually. In fact, there's a lot I didn't know. That's what I do with all my guests. I don't really want to learn a lot about them because I like to find out as I go along. It makes the conversation much better, doesn't it? Really, instead of so. Just great pleasure having you, and a really great conversation. I enjoyed it, Chris. Thanks a lot,
Dave. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. And thank you for giving me the time today for your audience.